and welcome back to the week of Who Would Win. As always, with the end of the week or end of the month, I always continue on with two of the selected themed Who Would Wins of the month, and that being the Planeswalkers of Magic the Gathering. Now we are starting to really run low on the roster of Planeswalkers. We're getting to some of the really big hitters coming up soon, but these guys are still powerful in their own right, just not the real heavy hitters that are going to be showing up pretty soon on the list. There will be 3 this week because the month actually ends on Thursday, and therefore Friday will be the beginning of a new month, so I'll actually have 3 of them this week. Anyway, first off, if you don't play the game Magic the Gathering, the card game, quick to note, it's an expansive world lore, it's a fun game, great art, all that stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, fantasy and whatnot. Infinite amount of worlds known as planes, and individuals who can move between these planes are called planeswalkers. They're usually more powerful than your average character, or have some abilities that are specific to them. There are limitations to who can be a planeswalker. You need to be a sentient being who is not artificially made. So like angels and robotic creatures cannot be, and elemental creatures made from the plane, or like the earth or the planet, whatever you want to call it, itself cannot be planeswalkers. Although something like, theoretically speaking, and if an animal's got sentience, it could be a planeswalker. So you could have an ape planeswalker, you could have a bird person planeswalker. I'd love to see a sentient Hydra planeswalker. That'd be pretty cool. That actually would be pretty boss. But Hydras generally don't have sentience. I digress though. We're almost 2 minutes in. I haven't even giving you the fighters, which you've already know through the title. So we're on to a character known as Kaya. Now, Kaya is an assassin. She is it's an assassin for hire, but generally is for the better good. And she is now currently in charge of a group known as the Orzhov on a plane known as Ravnica, who are essentially mafiosos. Her ability is unique. She's actually able to become intangible, but not just become intangible, but actually use her intangibility to touch other intangible things, allowing her to actually legitimately kill ghosts. Ghosts can linger linger past, death, and that's what a ghost in the spirit is. She's actually able to kill them and send them off to whatever afterlife exists in their world, and that's how she usurped the original leaders of that guild, because the original guild leaders were a council of ghosts. So she's often capable of using blades, and she can make them intangible as well. That's how she kills them, which means she's already got a level of stealth, because she can phase through solid matter. She's got a level of hand-to-hand combat skill, and she's got a level of she's able to become incorporeal, or intangible, if you will. Now, she can only do it partially and for spurts. She couldn't just go, haha, you cannot hurt me, and indefinitely do that. It's only partial transformations or temporary full transformations. You can't do it in full. But, so who would I put her up against? Well, a guy who is no stranger to being on this program, Mr. Daniel Fenton, also known as, I sucked in a little too much air on that. Also known as Danny Phantom. He just seems to work really easily for a lot of these Who Would Wins. It's kind of like him and Alucard. They just kind of are easy guys to use for these. So Danny obviously is around, I think he's 15 by the end of the series, and he is half ghost. Now, ghosts are not just the dead; they are technically a different organism unto themselves in those worlds. So, at least in the Danny Phantom universe. And his ghost biology, first, as a human being, he's no more capable than any kid his age and stature. But as a ghost, he's physically stronger, capable of, actually punching large individuals and lifting. I think they've shown him lifting a couple, tens of tons, something like that, at least 10,000 pounds, something in that area. He can fly at speeds at minimum. Top speeds are probably beyond at this point 112 miles an hour, but when he was originally clocked, he was clocked at 112 miles an hour. It's more than likely he's improved drastically, as he was able, to cross the country in a couple hours on his own. So that would mean he's probably traveling a couple thousand miles an hour? I mean, because I'm trying to remember. I think Amityville is supposed to be located somewhere on the West Coast. Whereas, and he traveled halfway in a couple hours. So, that would mean he's probably maybe not full of the cup, maybe not 1,000 miles an hour, maybe like doing 500 miles an hour. And he still wasn't tired. He's got higher endurance, higher stamina, and obviously the ability of flight, and the magnitude of the abilities that his ghost powers allow him, from becoming intangible, becoming invisible, allowing him to possess individuals, shooting ecto energy, creating shields, duplicating himself, a frost breath, a sonic whale. I'm trying to think of a few of the other ones that I know he has. Actually, I think that pretty much came. He had weather manipulating powers for a little while, but that was through a different set of circumstances. He can make other things intangible. He can make other people invisible as well. He's just very diverse. He has enough on the field experience with that unarmed combat that he is a capable fighter. But he's still just a kid. He's still not the not the end all be all in his universe. There's individuals much stronger than he is, and he's not always the he's young, he's arrogant. So even though he's matured quite a bit, and he's taken a lot of responsibilities, he still can get it over his head. So let's assume Kaya is tasked with taking. Kaya shows up in Danny's universe, and she's just chilling. She likes his universe. But she's also, Danny's noting there's less ghost activity. She's taking out the ghosts, and Vlad Plasmus probably catches on to her. And I would say Vlad probably would beat her. I'll say this: Vlad would probably beat her because he's just more powerful, more experienced than Danny is ultimately, and older, so he's got a better physically developed body. But he hires her to take out Danny. Now, as she goes and she's observing him and she's not seeing anything, then she sees him go ghost, and he's like, he's half ghost, or is he a spirit? And she tries to, I think, get Danny, and his ghost sense allows him to sense ghosts, but unfortunately in this case it's not like Spidey sense. He can't just sense danger. He senses ghosts. So she tries to basically catch him in a building as he's flying by with a blade and just sticks it out. Danny barely dodges. What was that? And then he sees, like, there's a ghost there, and then he flies in through the building, and she's there. She basically tries to slice at him again, and he goes incorporeal, but it hits him, and he gets a firm. He goes, she hit me while I was intangible. How the hell did she do that? And it's like, yeah, you're not gonna live to find out. And then he ectoblasts her. She kind of goes partially intangible, but she can't go full intangible. She does get hit, but because she's human, it doesn't affect her the same way it would affect a ghost. Still hurts, and she gets blasted against the wall. It's like, all right then. So now she's basically, I think, if the art from basically her killing Orzhov is anything to go by, she's very good at throwing weapons. So she probably has a couple blades on her. So she throws a couple at Danny, who is, trying to get out of the way. And he basically throws up an ecto shield, but it goes intangible. And it goes through him. And I don't know if she can stop something from being intangible when she's not touching it. Getting the fact that Magic the Gathering has a lot of magic, obviously, and spell usage, I would argue she might be able to. So, I mean, again, it gets lodged in Danny's arm, the shoulder. So now one of his shoulders is already out, and he's already got a blade in the other. So now he's just and this is the first time Danny, I think, has really been this bad. Danny's been effed up a couple times, but nothing this, like, someone's not tearing flesh, has ever torn flesh out of him, cut into him, caused him to bleed out. This is, I think, the worst. This is like his life is in danger now. His life is legitimately in danger. He realizes this. He's now like, it's like, yeah, sorry, but I got orders to take you out, sweetheart. Nothing personal, just business. And then he's like, no, you stay away. And then sonic wails and just, and then her eardrums are just nearly bleeding herself. Just, and then he basically puts up his arms best he can and just freezes her in place with cryokinesis before his arm goes dead. She's frozen solid. And then she starts to phase out of there, and he realizes, I got to do something. and then it would probably dawn on him that if she can hit me while I'm intangible, that means I can do the same to her. So he just flies in, basically intangibly flies into her while she's phasing out of the ice block, but does his best to put both his arms up. And to be fair, he has a higher rate of recovery than your normal person because of the ghost influence. But still, it's not amazing. It's not Wolverinus. He'd still be in trouble right now. Maybe smart enough to actually freeze up the wound so he doesn't bleed out. But he basically just rams right through Kaya, and Kaya just straight out the building, and she immediately unphases, so he goes right through her. But Danny actually plans as she realizes, crap, I'm falling, and boom, and then hits the ground. Just, oh. And I don't think your back's broken. She's maybe got some broken ribs now, and maybe a fracture there. She's slowly getting up, and then Danny, with the last bit of his energy, just poof, comes up again, uppercuts, possesses her, and I think just makes her knock herself out. So I think Danny wins this with a large degree of difficulty on his part. The reason for that is Kaya is older. Kaya is more experienced. Kaya actually kills people. Spirits. She actually kills. And she probably has about the same equivalent of experience of hand-to-hand combat as Danny does. Danny, though, has versatility on his side. Even if she takes his arms out, he can still use his ecto energy if he has to, but he'd be in a lot of trouble. But he has abilities he doesn't have to use his arm for. That sonic whale in particular and the cryokinesis would be perfect for keeping her at bay, keeping her held up for a good while. And Danny has enough experience fighting ghosts that he and fighting, consistently in the streets, that he can think on the fly, and therefore he would know that if she's intangible and I can hit him while he's intangible, that means he can do the same, throw her out, and he'd probably, I'm not certain if he'd guess, but he would hope, and I imagine she would, turn off the intangibility so he'd fly through her, but unfortunately the momentum would still carry her and smash her on the ground. So I will go Danny, but I'm only going to go 60-40. I think there's a solid 40% chance Kaya kills Danny. Like, legitimately throws a incorporeal blade right through his head. He just dies. And then boom, drops dead. And now there's a dead human, and she realizes she killed a human. Like, oh god. And he's a kid. Oh god, what did I do? I think that's an area she doesn't step in very often, is actually killing someone, and let alone killing a young kid. I think that would be an area that would really weigh on her conscience. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this fight. What do you think? Do you think Kaya wins, or do you think Danny wins? Majority or less than majority? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know the review of it at some point. It is the week of who would win, so keep your eyes out for who would win. There'll be one tomorrow, one hopefully throughout the week. Luckily, my schedule is different now that I can get home around 3 and have enough time to do videos when I get home. So until then, though, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time, folks. Later.